Yielding.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Thomas. Berry.
Present.
Vestal.
Present.
Height.
Here.
And Witcher.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Thank you very much. Let me ask all of us to stand for the prayer, and I'll follow by the pledge. Can we please bow our heads? Dear Father, we want to thank you on behalf of the community for the grace and forgiveness and guidance you bestowed on us. And please, Lord, think of those men and women, one of whom we're honoring tonight, who have served and continue to serve this country as they're separated from their family and friends. Those that were recently activated are now going to be traveling for over a year overseas and will be separated from their families for many months. Let this community thank them and appreciate what they do, but underline the fact of how dear and close to us family or friends are. That's truly all that we can claim. So thank you for the gift of your Son, and thank you for looking at us and over us. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded. The minutes of the previous meeting be accepted as submitted on the motion.
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Berry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Let me, Paul Brown, and Paul's in uniform. Paul, you want to come with your family up to the microphone? Paul is a proud member of the United States Army Reserve, and also with our electric department. Went to work for the city in February of 1986, and I see his wife Elaine and their two sons, Philip and Peyton. Y'all want to wave? Are you Philip or are you Peyton?
No, this is Peyton, oldest one. So,
Okay. Well, nice to see you. You want to introduce the rest of your family for us?
my mother, Milton Brown, my sister, Wanda Nahalo, my sister-in-law, Peggy Williams, my pastor, Reverend Kelly Green, my three nephews, Alonzo, Jara, and John, my wife, Elaine.
Well, we sure appreciate the major too. And before I present this to you, let me just give you a minute or two, if you could, Paul. And I feel like I made captain. So, sir, if you would just tell us, I know a little bit about your time in Iraq. I know you spent 6, 7, 8 months Kuwait, over in the Middle East, and if you'd just share a moment or two about that with us, and I'd like to make a few comments and present something to you.
Okay. First, I'd like to say, giving honor to God, I'm thankful to be back home among my family and friends. This is a great nation we serve, and you don't know how much you will miss it and appreciate it until you leave and see some other things from a different perspective, and then you come back home, how we take things for granted here. But what we're doing over there is for a just cause. You may not see it now with the results that we see on TV every day, the casualties, but in the long run, once it's all said and done, I equate it to us liberating Germany during World War II. Not all the Iraqi people are against freedom and democracy, but there are still some who are the stronghold believers of Saddam Hussein's beliefs and his tactics. But in the long run, when it's all said and done, I think it'll be equal to a World War II situation. I'm glad to be a part of that history and have participated in it. Continue to pray for those soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that are still forward, and those that are going to go, and those of us that may have to go again. This is a great nation we serve, and I'm just honored to be here.
And I know I had a chance Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday to go down to Fort Hood, and the 38th Infantry Brigade was activated in the state of Arkansas, and I know that this city, we counted the numbers. We had somewhere between 7 and 8 people that were part of that activation, and we added up the numbers, and there were somewhere in the there may be 15 to 16 of the employees of the city that were on active duty in one form or another. And I know in talking to the men and women down at Fort Hood, as they get ready to go, they're proud Americans and they're professionals and they do a great job. And I know, there was a great feeling of commitment and patriotism and appreciation. And I know that the job that you did, as well as those of your colleagues who are in uniform, continues to do this nation proud, and we appreciate what you do in your civilian job for this city as a member of our electric department's force. Keeping the lights on at home are real important to us too. And we want to thank your family for being with you and certainly supporting this major. We're proud of him in several different ways, and I know you're proud of him as a son and a husband and a father and a friend. So if I could, that I, Patrick Hayes, Mayor of the City of North Little Rock, do proclaim the 8th day of December 2003 as Paul Brown Day in honor of his bravery and dedicated service to his country during his tour of duty in Kuwait. Major, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay. One thing, let me just...
Okay. All right, sir.
What I just told him, so I can make sure everybody knows, every once in a while my office makes a mistake, every once in a while. And we put Iraq instead of Kuwait, so we're going to change that. Oops. Thank you very much, Major. We'll get that straightened out and get you another one. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all for coming.
All right.
There's a young lady who has honored our community, and I think she's in the audience. I don't know, Ms. Whitby, you want to come on over here and join us? If I could, is Mary Beth Dixon here? Okay. And if her parents, Dr. Keith and Alicia Dixon, want to come with her, we'd be proud to have y'all here. Ms. Whitby, as we all know, is our city clerk and enjoys a little recreational horse back riding. And Ms. Dixon has brought home an honor to us that we're extremely pleased that one of our citizens was able to carry the banner of our city and certainly share her talent with others as Mary Beth is 15 years old and is a sophomore at the East Campus and was the only Arkansan to qualify in the sport horse event of the first Arabian Sport Horse Nationals, which was held in Lexington, Virginia, and competed with a horse by the name of Hurricane Isbell. Not with, what was your horse's name?
Tio Nabernick.
Tio Nabernick. Okay. But she was competing when Hurricane Isabel was coming close to the East Coast. Did you get a chance to be in any of that weather?
They were in it.
Yeah,
They
we
were
were
in
in
it?
it. It wasn't that bad, but we were. But
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, and I think you came in. Well, let me just read the proclamation. And you want to help me pronounce that word? Dressage? Uh-huh. Whereas dressage is a discipline where a rider and horse aim to harmoniously compete prescribed movements from memory inside a 60 by 20 meter marked arena, and is one of the 3 Olympic equestrian sports. Are we going to have you in the Olympics?
I don't know.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah, absolutely. And whereas the sport requires accuracy, subtlety, and athleticism, boy, I don't know who knows these big words I had to read, of both the horse and rider, and can take years to perfect. And whereas 2 U.S. Dressage Foundation Federation, I knew I was going to make a mistake, shows are hosted in the state of Arkansas, and whereas Mary Beth Dixon, the sophomore at North Little Rock East Campus, has won top honors in the Arkansas competition, including overall High Point champion and the Jim Bishop Memorial Trophy awarded by the Arkansas Dressage Society to the rider with the highest score at its major show. And whereas the first Arabian Sport Horse Nationals were held in Lexington, Virginia, September 2003, and whereas Mary Beth, along with her horse, Tio Nabernick, or Tally, Okay. Was named. I guess we ought to make a tally day too, or it's a team, right?
Yeah.
Was named among the top 10 of approximately 20 competitors in an English show class for amateurs, and by judges' cards came in fourth. And whereas Mary Beth was the only Arkansan to qualify for the sport horse event and one of just a few junior competitors to enter the competition, which was also open to adults. And whereas Mary Beth is a resident of the city of North Little Rock and claims North Little Rock as her hometown, therefore I, Patrick Hayes, as mayor of the city of North Little Rock, to proclaim the 17th through the 22nd of 2003 as Mary Beth Dixon Days. And that's when you were in that competition. So all these days are yours. And hereby encourage all the residents of the city of North Little Rock to applaud Mary Beth for her achievements and wish her the best of luck in all her future competitions. And I have set my hand and seal this 8th day of December 2003. Mary Beth, we appreciate you carrying our banner in the city of North Little Rock, and we wish you well. And we hope that that fourth, we know, is going to turn to a first. So take care, and thank you very much. Okay, we're on communications. We've got 1 through 6. Do I have a blanket motion?
So moved. So moved.
Motion made and second. Anybody want to pull one? I'd like to pull number 6. Does anyone have any that they want to pull? On the motion to accept and file 1 through 5.
Gibson?
Yes.
Yielding?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Berry?
Yes.
Vestal?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Let me mention item 6, and would you read it by title, Ms. Whitby?
Yes, sir. This is a letter from Mayor Hayes to the members of the City Council, and it's regarding the Arkansas Arts Center.
We have long enjoyed and perhaps maybe not appreciated as much the things that institution does for Central Arkansas and the entire state of Arkansas. And in fact, you know, one of the things that causes me a great deal of pride is that, you know, probably it's closer to more of our citizens than perhaps half of the citizens south of the river. And obviously, again, the name is the Arkansas Arts Center. You know, I was approached about and have been serving on the board of that institution for about 5 or 6 years, and was approached this past summer about the city may have an interest or a willingness to become a sponsor or a partner with the Art Center, and I considered it, and at that point decided that I would bring it up to the council sometime prior to the first of the year, and all of a sudden turned around twice, and here's the end of the year. You know, because the letters that are attached, I know because I attached this today, maybe the council hadn't had a chance to really look through it very closely, but essentially ask us to be a partner for $25,000. There's a publication that would carry an acknowledgement and certainly share the story of the city of North Little Rock in terms of advertising. That's twice or 6 times a year. There are a variety of things that this city would benefit by, but in large measure, you know, there is a letter dated June 9th that's referred to in my letter that talks about the number of people, both students and citizens, that are benefited by the Art Center. And for example, in the 2002-2003 school year, 553 students from North Little Rock visited the Art Center. Right now we have the Artmobile that's parked out in our parking lot, and I could go on and show a variety of other things that we are benefited by, our citizens in our community. So I asked the Advertising and Promotion Commission to partner with us on this, and what I intend to do, unless there's an objection by the council, is to allocate $12,500 from the administration's budget this year, and then I've talked to Mr. Vino of Advertising and Promotion, and that commission was polled and is supportive of an allocation of $12,500 to have our participation for a year with that institution. And it's certainly my intent that, if this activity continues, and even as I accented in my letter to you, there's a paragraph in there that talks about that the Art Center would welcome the opportunity to plan collaboratively, another big word, with the City of North Little Rock to expand Arkansas Art Center programs in North Little Rock communities, and I would certainly work with them to do that. So I'm asking for a motion to accept and file and support what I think is an institution that's very beneficial to us and can be more so as we move forward to working closer with them.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor, I'd like to say one word. I know there is some things, that I guess that I don't really appreciate about art, but I got to thinking about that. I'm sure there's a lot of citizens that wouldn't appreciate, wouldn't go out and sit in a football game and during the rain and rainstorm. So we've got people in our city that needs, appreciate all different things. So I'm going to vote for that.
I appreciate it, Alderman, and they do a lot of good. The Children's Theater and on we can name things. So with that, if there's no further discussion on the motion,
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Berry.
Yes.
Bestel.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Witcher.
Yes.
and let me just point out one thing that was adopted in the general blanket motion, and that is going forward to our skateboard park. One of the communications indicated that unless the council objected otherwise, that we intend to use the allocation that we have along with the CBDG funding to put that skateboard park out at Riverview Park, which is adjacent to the FOP Lodge. And I think that's one big step toward adding just another continuing another exciting activity that our young people are really supportive of. With those comments, let's go to let me just go ahead and ask Mr. Sisson to come to the microphone, because I see where, even though we filed the budget, I did intend to call and mention that we will have a public hearing. I'd also intend to have a public hearing at the next council meeting. I would ask that we consider. I know we're not mandated to adopt a budget prior to the last day in January, and yet we usually adopt it unless there's a reason otherwise before the first of the year. So, I'd like everybody to look at it, review it. We'll have another public hearing after we'll have one right after Mr. Sisson, if anybody wants to comment, makes a few remarks, and then if there are any questions, feel free to address them to either me or Mr. Sisson, and then we'll recess the public hearing until the next council meeting, give anyone an opportunity to comment on it then, and then I would intend, if there's not a reason otherwise, to ask the council to vote on it. Mr. Sisson?
Mayor, if it pleases everyone, let me just give a real brief explanation of where we get the funds and where it will go. We have three big revenue producers in the general fund, the whole city. It's the electric department, the county sales tax, and the city sales tax. The electric department is remaining the same because the revenues have not increased in the electric department in several years. Either people being more efficient or something that hasn't increased. The county sales tax is increasing slightly, but there is the use tax portion remains in escrow. We're escrowing about $70,000 to $75,000 a month. Right now it's about $950,000. I think from the city attorney they're going to have a hearing next month, I believe, on that. So we're not counting on that as revenue at all.
You want to comment on real quick on that, Paul?
Yes, Mayor. All the briefing schedule has been complete on the Pulaski County use tax. City of Little Rock, and we joined a motion to ask the Supreme Court to hear the arguments at the first available date, which is January 22nd. We anticipate either the arguments will be heard on the 22nd or early in February. Essentially, right now we have $950,000 in escrow. If we prevail, that money will be released to the city, and we will continue with the roughly $70,000 a month we'll receive from that. Of course, the other scenarios are that we don't want to think about if they rule against us, that money in escrow could be lost. Worst case scenario would be we would have to pay back some of the money that was paid in since '98. The court did not rule that way below, and we're definitely optimistic they won't do the same on appeal, but that's where we're at on that.
Mr. Sisson.
The one bright thing on our revenue picture is our city sales tax is increasing a little over 3% this year. Of course, y'all know that half of it goes to capital, and it is the bright spot of it. We have experienced a big decrease in fines during this year, and we anticipate that next year. According to the police chief, it apparently is because of the jail and the way the state police has to handle their fines. I think they carry it to the nearest court, I believe. Real quick, of some of the expenses, this budget includes a 3% raise for all those who will not receive a step in grade for the next year, starting in April. There are only one new employee. The Senior Citizen Center has had tremendous attendance, and we would ask that we increase by one staff person. The Parks and Recreation, their budget this year is slightly down because there's a decrease in golf course revenues, and we've taken that and have balanced the parks budget by not laying off anyone but eliminating some full-time positions, but we've found places for everyone. They're all still with us. Street fund is slightly down because most of the street repairs is now coming out of the capital sales tax capital improvement fund. We allocate some money to drainage and to streets each year. Where we have some discretion is the sales tax capital improvement fund, and I think you all have the budget or have this booklet where we've allocated, and I'll be happy to go over them if someone wants to. We're buying police cars. I think that gets about 20 police cars. We'll put the separate ward drainage. Part of it will be in the sales tax fund. We are proposed to rehabilitate City Hall. This is about a 3-year project. There are several things we need to do here. We still have the sidewalk program and the street program. We put money aside for Fairfax and for Smoky Lane, and some funds for the barge rehabilitation. I think most of you have this in your budget. It's under the sales tax capital improvement in your indexes. Mayor, that's a real brief. I'll be happy to talk all night, or I can answer any questions.
No, we don't want you to talk all night, but any questions of council before I turn it over to the public? We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and indicate that the microphone is open. If anyone cares to come to the microphone on the budget and make any comments. Going once. Going twice. I'll recess the public hearing on the budget until the next council meeting. Can we go to the agenda?
Yes, sir. Resolution 03-111, Mayor Hayes.
I think Mr. Witcher, we got to wait on that
Till January.
Till first of January, so let's hold it.
Okay. Resolution 03-114, Mayor Hayes.
Let me call it.
A resolution directing the Director of Finance to publish requests for proposals for a bond issue not to exceed $4 million.
Move for adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
One of the things that, we've got several things that we're interested in doing, and I know that list is not finalized, nor is it set in stone. One of which is, to work with the Arkansas Tennis Association and to add roughly 17 fields. We also want to address some needs out at Rose City Rec Center, the community center, the soccer complex. I could go on, and we'll itemize those. And right now, those that I mentioned, along with several others that I hadn't mentioned, total up to somewhere between 3.3 and 3.5. We wanted to ask the council for authorization to go up to 4, and we'll come back if the council gives us the indication they want us to go forward and actually itemize the money, those items and the allocations for what they are to be when we come back and actually go for the amount of money. But this is an intent not to exceed $4 million. The approach, many of us, you know that we built the Senior Citizen Center as well as the library and others. We borrowed money in order to do that, and we've been repaying that at about $1.8 million, $1.9 million a year. And so what our intent to do would be to, we have 3 years left of that payment, and so what our intent would be is to borrow, up to $4 million, and then pay interest only for the first 3 years, and then pay off the balance in the last 2 years, which means that we can have the authority to go up to 5 years in borrowing. Be happy to answer any questions, but the detail will come when we go out and actually get the the interest rate and come back with the implementing legislation. On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Resolution 03-115, Mayor Hayes.
Please call it.
This is a resolution appointing John Woodruff to the North Little Rock Airport Commission.
I move that.
Move for
Move for
adoption.
adoption.
Second. Just a second.
Mayor, unfortunately, my computer doesn't understand what I think when I necessarily type. The second whereas clause, we need to scratch advertising and promotion and put North Little Rock Airport.
Alderman Witcher moves and Alderman Height seconds that amendment. On the motion to amend?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding. Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes. Move for adoption as amended.
Second.
On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
And I know Mr. Woodruff's out here. You want to wave at us, John, and tell you we appreciate your service. Look forward to continued great things coming from the Airport Commission. I see Grimes and Mr. Kimbrell out there. I don't see anybody else in the Airport Commission, Sid. And I guess, Sid, you still chairman? So we appreciate the three of you as well as your cohorts. I know we've got one vacancy, and we're working on that. And I want you to know that for many years around here, when everybody would say John Woodruff's on the phone, fear ran through most of us. But now he works for the cities of the state as an employee of the Municipal League. He used to be a reporter around here for many years, but we're glad that there's another John Woodruff in our city family. Thanks for being a part of it, and we appreciate it. Next item,
Resolution 03-116, Mayor Hayes.
please call it.
A resolution accepting the low bid of Burkhalter Technologies for the parking lot expansion for the Health Department, Library, Community Center, and Senior Citizens Center campus.
Have a motion?
So move.
Motion made and seconded. On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Let's go to ordinances.
Ordinance 03-91, Mayor Hayes.
Would you please read it, and unless there's objection, I'll take it to second reading and then hold it for the next meeting.
This is an ordinance adopting the budget for the 2004 fiscal year for the city of North Little Rock. First reading.
Motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded. On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson. Thomas. Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
An
Okay,
ordinance
now-
adopting a budget for the 2004.
You don't want it read?
No, I don't want it read the third time.
And I don't
just,
have any question.
just the second time. We'll read it in the next. We've read it twice, haven't we?
No, sir, this is
No.
the second.
Oh, this is the second. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
Go ahead.
Okay.
This is an ordinance adopting a budget for the 2004 fiscal year for the city of North Little Rock. Second reading.
All right. Thank you very much. Now I'll hold it. Next item,
Ordinance 03-92, Mayor Hayes.
please call it.
This is an ordinance to allow the display of merchandise in certain locations of the city by amending ordinance number 3171 of the city of North Little Rock. First reading.
Let me take us to the third reading, and then I need to have our city attorney talk about an amendment. I hope he's
Well,
working on one.
Mayor, I think there's probably one problem that's arisen. We have, that is part of an overlay district and part of the Historic District Commission. I think that we probably need to get input from there before we go changing their rules.
Right. What I would want to do is we're not in a rush to adopt this, but it would be my intent to make along with his amendment make this subject to any of their, any other rules, regulations, or responsibilities imposed by, any overlay district or otherwise. Now, also my intent would be to make this broader than simply along Main Street. I would intend to make it anywhere in the city. Would be my.
I agree with you.
Would be my intent.
That's a problem.
Well, I mean, it may be a problem, and we may be able to discuss it, but I know that from Walmart to Home Depot to, all these places put their businesses out front. So, put a lot of their products out front. So, apparently there's a lot more violating that goes on than perhaps compliance. Alderman?
Mayor, there's a situation in C3 that you can store additional items outside and you bring them back in. One of the problems we have is that we have a few used furniture people who think outside is all time in C3, and that's not. It's one thing to have well displayed new merchandise out front. It's another thing to have used washers, dryers, refrigerators sitting out on the sidewalk. And it's not the image I think that we want in a lot of instances. So,
well, what let's do is I'll go ahead and take it to third reading. We'll leave it on here. I'll hold it, or take it to second reading, if that's okay, and then I'll leave it on here. Anybody that wants to talk about amendments, we can visit about amendments, and then we'll try to discuss it, the next council meeting, if that's all right. I don't have any problems trying to deal with something like what you're talking about, but I sure don't have a problem with what apparently is now a violation of our code. Alderman Thomas?
Yeah, I agree with you, because I don't want a few to make it hard for everyone. And so he mentioned a few there. That's probably true, but I don't want that to be make a hardship on all these others.
Displaying a used car is a display out there. But I don't want used cars sitting out in front of businesses, sitting up along our major thoroughfares. Or a used trailer.
I don't. First of all, I don't think a used car sales is zoned everywhere. Along the lines we're talking about. Number one. Number two, it cannot block a road or right of way, which would be a sidewalk. That to me is something that just almost liability would dictate in someone not doing that. So I don't disagree with you, Alderman, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to ramrod this down the road, because I don't want to do something that has unforeseen consequences. But I sure don't have a problem with what our code enforcement department said was a violation in front of the neighbors next door.
I have no problem with what he's doing next door. I want to fix that, but I don't want to unfix some other situations we have in the city. If we want to allow him, which you could do by executive order, to allow him to do that during this period of holidays, I find it interesting that we will ticket him or choose to ticket him, which is right here, and yet we had 17 cars for sale on Sunday on JFK, all violated the city ordinance.
I don't disagree with you, Alderman. And they're like I mentioned, I see from Walmart to Home Depot to others that regularly put wares out in front of their stores, store them, sell them, and so I don't mind fixing it. I don't want to do something, and I think we're just saying the same thing. I said, fine, we'll take it to second reading or through second reading, and then whatever we need to do to make sure that we don't overdo or more broadly do than what we want to.
Two questions.
Let's come up with some words that'll do that.
Yeah, two questions. What did we do about seasonal merchandise several months ago?
It's allowed.
It's allowed.
It's allowed. And
Is that not seasonal merchandise?
I thought it would be seasonal merchandise. I have the same situation. Walmart, Home Depot, and those people have the opportunity to stack that stuff outside. It's in the ordinance now.
Well, I don't know if electric scooters are seasonal merchandise.
They probably only sold at Christmas.
They're displayed up on JFK at the former
R&J
service station.
Yeah.
Let's take a right now it's going to be fine, and let's just this is a little bit of an intellectual exercise to see if we can come up with something. Maybe you're right, but right now I could see where that might be an argument.
Second question.
Excuse me, Alderman. I don't know why we picked on that person. I was heading out of town, and it seemed to me to be silly, and so I asked the city attorney's office to determine if they thought it was silly, and I didn't use those words. And then if it was, then let's do something, put something on here so we could get the ball rolling to straighten it out.
Right. The overlay district allows the outside display of certain goods for sale. Now, we need to get into those rules to make sure we're not changing. And I'm not sure that what he's doing is not legal. And I realize he got cited, but I'm just...
Well, let me just say, I asked the city attorney's office to determine whether they thought it was legal or not, and their opinion to me was that that what they were doing did violate what we had on the books.
He had another question.
I'm sorry.
The zoning, is it different on Main Street than it is up on John F. Kennedy Boulevard? And what is the zoning on Main Street?
This is C6 down here, and I think if you look at C6, C3 is very specific about outside storage.
Okay.
And it needs to be, because we have enough trouble trying to determine what's seasonal merchandise and what pops up for storage. Just take a drive down Pike Avenue and look at C3 outside storage in our ward. And I think you'll find that it has a liberal interpretation.
Alderman Witcher?
Mayor, in order to take care of the problem next door, why can't we cite the ordinance specifically to that address, subject to the overlay district regulations?
Well, I don't have a problem with making sure that, I've already indicated the code that we don't
want
want.
to print an ordinance, go through all the
Yeah.
things, take care of one citation.
Well, I mean, but they would take care of that one situation.
Yeah, I would much rather,
Okay.
I really don't want to direct legislation toward one address. I mean, if it doesn't have general application, then it doesn't need to be, in my mind, doesn't need to be addressed. I think this thing ought to be broader, but I don't disagree with Alderman Gibson, that we don't need to go further than we want to, or we need to. Alderman Berry?
Well, I think we probably have the same situation, our little strip of Levy, where we have some that want to display new merchandise outside.
And they can do that in C3.
Well, let me, without us getting into a long debate, because right now we're not going to carry it much further, I'm asking the city attorney to use his legalistic wording and vocabulary, and I'm asking each of you that have concerns between now and the next council meeting, I'll talk to him, to try to frame some words that address in a general nature the concerns that we have, and see if we can address it, if we need to. With that, let me ask for somebody to move to suspend the rules. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
On the motion to suspend the rules, take its second reading, Ms. Whitby?
Gibson,
Yes.
Yielding,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance to allow the display of merchandise in certain locations of the city by amending ordinance number 3171 of the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas. Second reading.
Okay, I'm going to hold that now, and Mr. Susky, you might see, if there's some other cities that have anything that, has any language. Surely to goodness, there's something that might help us through this.
Will do.
Alderman,
Just want him to use some common sense.
that's it. Just a little common sense. Next item,
Ordinance 0393, Alderman Vestal.
Call it, please.
This is an ordinance allowing a special use to allow a propane refueling station in the C4 zone for certain real property located at the end of Vesta Court on the east side, North Little Rock, Arkansas. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place on second reading.
second. On the motion?
Gibson,
Yes.
Yielding,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use to allow a propane refueling station in the C4 zone for certain real property located at the end of Vesta Court on the east side, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place the ordinance on its third reading.
Second.
On the question?
Gibson,
Yes.
Yielding,
Yes. Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use to allow a propane refueling station in a C4 zone for certain real property located at the end of Vesta Court on the east side, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Third and final reading.
On the question?
Gibson,
Yes.
Yielding,
Yes.
Robin. Did you say no?
Yes.
What did you say?
Yes.
Okay. Robinson was yes.
Yeah.
Thomas?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Vestal?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
On the emergency, Gibson?
Yes.
Yielding?
Yes.
Robinson? Thomas?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Vestal?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
Ordinance 0394, Alderman Vestal.
Call please and add Alderman Terry as a co-sponsor, please.
Without objection? Thank you.
This is an ordinance allowing a special use to allow a 6-bay car wash in a C3 zone for certain real property located north of the intersection of Crystal Hill and Maumelle Boulevard, North Little Rock, Arkansas. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place it on second reading.
Second. On the motion?
Gibson?
Yes.
Yielding?
Yes.
Robinson? Thomas?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Vestal?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use to allow a 6-bay car wash in a C3 zone for certain real property located north of the intersection of Crystal Hill and Maumelle Boulevard, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place it on third reading.
Second. On the motion?
Gibson? Alderman Gibson?
Yes.
Yes.
Voted yes. I'm sorry. I was waiting on the...
Working
Okay.
on sirens to get
Okay.
passed.
Yielding?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Vestal?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
And Witcher?
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use to allow a 6-bay car wash in a C3 zone for certain real property located north of the intersection of Crystal Hill and Maumelle Boulevard, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Third and final reading.
Mayor, quick question. Okay, and perhaps one of the aldermen can answer this. There was an indication that this piece of property has already been cleared. How did they do that without a building permit?
Where's Mr. Boyles?
You're saying
And I know that Mr. Carey knows better, but this piece of property has been cleared.
It's next to commercial property, and the Planning Commission has reviewed the site plan for this.
Okay.
I know that it's proposed as a commercial lot.
What are you saying, Alderman? That-
Well, the property's already been cleared. He's already started construction before we pass the
We allow
ordinance.
site preparation to improve commercial property. It has been zoned commercial. We have a restriction on only 4 bays are allowed, so they have to come through for special use to allow the 6 bay. It's
All right,
allowed
so-
for 4 bay. If it's not approved tonight, they can build a 4 bay car wash.
Okay.
And that's been reviewed by the Planning Commission.
Okay, but what you're telling me is he has a building permit and he started site prep prior to this. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And 4 bays are allowed by right. We have a special rule in the city limiting, like mayor's, no display. We limit no more than 4 bays at car washes, which may be silly. But so we're here to ask if he can have 6 bays. He's wanting a 6-bay car wash.
So I think
But
what
they
he's,
can have-
are you saying does he have a building permit?
I believe they have a site preparation permit,
Site preparation.
and they can build a 4-bay car wash at this property. It's zone C3.
So you're saying that they're doing more than preparing a site?
No, I was just curious about them prepping the site prior to us passing the ordinance.
I guess what I hear him saying is that they can build this 4-bay and probably would if we didn't pass it, and they're going down that road and they're
Correct.
doing it with a site preparation permit, perhaps if we didn't for a 4-bay.
And it's been reviewed by the commission. the site.
Let me get a motion, adopt on third and final.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I guess I would, Mr. Voyles, it's not necessary to do on this one, but I'd kind of like to see, we've always had these discussion of how these pieces of, how these buildings sit on this property, and, we've had enough trouble with car washes that when they come out of the car wash, they come take all the water right out onto the street with them, and I think in the future, I'd like to see the site plan be attached to it.
Which ones, all of them? or-
No, just to some,
In the future.
this specific one. We do that on some of them, but, well, on special uses.
Yes.
On special uses, I would think that would be the only thing that we would have. Item 2, and I guess that the traffic reviewed that, but I hope nobody tries to come out of come out of the car wash and go straight across with that corner like it is. I mean, if they tried to go and come back towards town on Maumelle Boulevard,
I know they're entering with the shared driveway at the southern corner, and they're putting in a new driveway 330 feet up.
So there won't be any driveway that'll be directly across from where Crystal Hill.
They're using that Suburbicue and liquor store driveway.
That's here.
But I can get you the site plan. Yes, sir.
Because I think there'd be some concern if you were able to drive right out and go straight across onto Crystal Hill.
The Highway Department requires, and we have agreed to a 330-foot spacing for driveways out there. I'd have to get you the plans to show you exactly how that would line up.
Okay.
Does that address your problem? Motion been made and seconded to adopt on third and final. Any other discussion on the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
On the emergency, Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Ordinance 0395, Alderwoman Robinson.
Please call. This is an ordinance allowing a special use for a daycare in an R4 zone for certain real property located 628 North Vine in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas. First reading.
I move to move this suspended, placed on second reading.
Second.
On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use for a daycare in an R4 zone for certain real property located 628 North Vine in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules, take on third reading.
On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance allowing a special use for a daycare in an R4 zone for certain real property located 628 North Vine in the city of North Little Rock, Arkansas. Third and final reading.
Alderwoman Robinson?
Got a question. Robert.
And we do have the applicant here.
Yeah, okay. The applicant is here.
Yes.
All right.
She's here.
My first question is, how many children will you be caring for at this facility?
6.
Only 6 children. Okay. My next question is drop off and pick up.
They presented a plan, and the commission wanted no drop-offs on 7th Street. They have a letter from Shorter College allowing their employees to park across the street.
Good.
And they were planning on drop-off and pick-off on Vine, correct?
Right.
Okay. Okay, that was my question.
I have a question.
Alderman Height?
Ms. Rounds, you're the owner of this daycare, is that correct?
I'm getting licensed for it. I don't own the property.
You own the daycare, though?
Yes.
Are
That's my plan.
you going to be operating the daycare, or are you going to be hiring a director?
I will. I'll be operating it.
So have you been visiting with DHS about this as far as your
No, I'm still
certification?
getting my requirements ready. Haven't got all those complete. I can't do anything until I get all this done, sending to get licensed.
How many employees do you plan on having?
1.
One other than yourself?
Right.
And that person is going to be qualified as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman
This is
Gibson?
unusual. We have one that says playground fence must be 6-foot opaque fence. We've usually had them for a 6-foot wooden fence that were there.
You want to address that, Mr. Boyle?
Maybe
I think there was already a chain link there.
No, I had a chain link put there. No one told me that it had to be security. They said a 6-foot fence, so that's what I put up. Chain link, gate on 7th Street side, and a gate in the back. So now I'm told that I need to go back and do these slats, whatever that is.
This is a program. She's had a grandmother's support
Yes.
daycare that was
Advocates for
nonprofit.
kids and relatives.
Yeah.
Right, and they're moving into a full-fledged small daycare facility, but they're on limited funds.
You got that
Why
right.
did we do why did we, I'm sure she didn't come up here and ask
No.
for this condition about
No.
an
No,
opaque
sir.
fence. Why did we do that?
We've been requiring opaque in neighborhoods where there's been neighbors that have wanted to have privacy. If you can recall some of the daycare cases.
What, concern about somebody seeing kids out there and go grabbing them? Is that in so many words?
No, just enjoy your backyard and kids making noise all day. But this will only be 6 children, so it's a small number being kept there.
Well, I didn't have any problem with the security part, but if I had been told that at first, I wouldn't have spent all this money to have a 6-foot chain link.
Well, one of the things I think that's available to make it opaque is you can slide little slats of, can't you? Just slide little slats of
metal.
I mean, that,
Aluminum.
if council wants to do anything with that, that's fine, but,
It's just unusual because usually most all of we've had here lately. I'm not wanting to change it. I just want to know why that everybody else has had to put up a 6-foot wood and this one's got to be a 6-foot opaque. And it's telling me that it's because the fence is already there and they can slide slats in it to take care of it.
That's the best way we can think of making it opaque. If you want to drop the opaqueness, that's no issue.
I don't have a problem with
motion
the
made
fence.
and seconded that it be adopted on final, on the motion.
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
On the emergency, Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding. Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
We've said yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ordinance 0396, Alderman Thomas.
Call it, please.
This is an ordinance rezoning certain property located at 8900 Highway 70 in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas from I-1 to C4 zone by amending ordinance number 3171 of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. First reading.
I'd like to move the rules be suspended and placed on second reading.
Second.
On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance rezone certain property located at 8900 Highway 70 in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas from I-1 to C4 zone by amending ordinance number 3171 of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. Second reading.
I'd like to move the rules be suspended and placed on a third reading.
Second.
On the motion?
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
An ordinance rezoning certain property located at 8900 Highway 70 in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas from I-1 to C4 zone by amending ordinance number 3171 of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. Third and final reading.
Alderwoman Robinson, then Alderman Gibson.
My only question is, what is going in this place? What?
What we're doing, we're down zoning it from a industrial to a C4, and there'll be cars. There'll be cars across there from the big auction house that's location out there. That's I think that's about all they have out there is cars in that area.
Interesting, it's going to be a car lot, but Section 2 said there'll be no outside storage.
I noticed that.
That's strictly a contradiction of I don't know what you call it if they're not outside storage. I mean,
Mr. Boyles, come on back. Come on back.
I got a question.
I want to walk away from that one. Clearly, cars outside are planned at a car lot, so I assume that's a mistake. Well, I'm sure it's my staff's fault. I don't know. I don't know what that's in there for.
Well, who drafted that, Mr. Boyles?
My office drafts all
Well, I know,
legislation.
but you do some.
They
Help
can,
us out.
well, they convey something to us. I would assume what they're talking about, outside storage of stuff other than cars. I think it's implied if you are zoned properly for a car lot, that you're going to have cars sitting outside. Why it's in there, I don't know. We obviously can amend it and delete it out if you'd like.
I'm not.
We need to change the wording then?
I'd like to ask the sponsor to hold us 2 weeks so we can find out what the intent was.
But what I'd like to do is just, as the party interested here tonight, are they here that would it cause them a problem? It's for their benefit I'm trying to do this.
Is there an interested party that's here on this legislation about rezoning 8900 Highway 70?
Is Mr. Tullis here?
Why is Martin want it held?
Mayor, I have, as you well know, I have a lot of problem with C4 property along major thoroughfares. This is a major entrance into the city. And C4 allows for a whole lot of things other than a car lot. And I guess anytime I vote for C4 property, I want to know what's going there. And if I had a preference, I'd zone it C3 and special use it for a specific use. I-1 to C4 is not necessarily a down zone.
It's to me.
I-1 is very light industrial, and you can put a lot more things in C4 than you can put in I-1. So,
The planning commission, maybe I might ask, how did the planning commission rule?
They voted 9-0.
It was unanimous in support.
Oh, there wasn't any question about that. I
thought we usually relied upon the planning commission. We tried to.
Only thing I'm trying to do is that I consider if outside storage is usually that they're going to have a building and they can't store anything outside it. We've got one sitting across the street that doesn't allow any outside storage. It's a used car lot. And he doesn't have any outside storage. And Anderson keeps all of his stuff inside of his building. When he leaves at night, everything goes back inside of his building. Nothing's stored outside. That's what's implied here. I'm not sure that's what your client or your person you're working for on this piece of legislation wants. But this is now about the third time this year we put a condition on an ordinance, on a rezoning. We traditionally put conditions on special use. I'm guilty of doing it on one, so I mean, it's precedented. But I think that if he's going to store used cars outside, that he will violate the spirit of this legislation.
We're in discussion, Alderman Berry.
I was just wondering, is he gonna asphalt this and fence it like the rest of it? I suppose he would for insurance purposes if it's auctionable items.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I didn't go through all that with him. I know that I told him to go to the planning commission, and that's where he went, and so I just said I'd sponsor it if it had to plan.
Any other questions? Where are we, Ms. Whitby?
It's been read 3 times, and there are no motions pending.
If these others, Alderman, they want to help, that's fine with me. I mean,
It's your legislation, Alderman, whatever you want to do.
well, I don't want to get it beat down, and usually they stay together, and they hang together, so I don't want to.
Mayor, can we get him down here next council
I'm
meeting?
sure we can.
Are we gonna ask him to
It's Alderman Thomas's legislation, and so we're holding it.
I mean, I think I want to see the man do what he wants to do, and obviously this is not going to let him do what he wants to do.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor, if I could make a suggestion, if we struck section 2 and renumbered 3, 4, and 5, that would take care of.
Planning Commission put that in there for a reason.
Okay.
We don't know what that reason. I don't have the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting.
Tell you what, let me. That's a point that I want to indicate. I don't, intend to plaster y'all with paper, but if any council member wants any commission minutes on a regular basis, we'll make arrangements, and I'll work with the city clerk, Ms. Whitby, to provide those minutes to you. So whether it be civil service, whether it be planning, whatever it might be, if you're interested, just notify Ms. Whitby, and we'll work together to make sure that on a regular basis you get the minutes of whatever you want.
Mayor, we get the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting now, except we normally get them when we get the agenda for the next meeting. So when I made my comment, I don't have them yet. I will get them, but it'll be sometime probably next week before we get them.
Well, now, when is Planning Commission? Do they meet just before council? I know they meet.
We've already
once a
gotten
month,
the
don't
minutes
they?
on this meeting.
Why don't we just indicate that Ms. Whitby will have the minutes, and there are a variety of ways between email and fax and otherwise. So let us just ask you that if you're interested in them, just contact her, and we'll get it to you.
Another case
If this
of
is
paperless
held-
viewing screen.
If this is held, they will ask Mr. Tullis to come to the next meeting? Is that what we'll do?
This is Alderman Thomas's
Yeah,
legislation.
Yeah, because I can't answer some of those questions, so
It might be better.
we'll ask him.
All right, be held.
I just called my staff, and they said that was not as a requirement of the commission, so we probably just have an error there.
Well, we're doing a little bit of error here and an error there. And, in any event, we'll try to do better on the staff side.
That still doesn't answer why it's there.
Mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
Could be the answer. Just a big old mistake.
Mayor, if it's in fact a mistake, then I will agree that Mr. Witcher will take it out pass the legislation. If you get a different direction between now and Friday, I'll ask you to veto it. Either way you want to do it, I can hold either way.
It's up to, Alderman Thomas is accommodating, so it's up to y'all. It's whatever you want
Let's
to do.
just hold it and
Yeah, we'll hold it, we'll get some answers, and we can take it out next time. With that, we're in public comment. Any council member have any comments? Microphone?
Yes,
Oh,
I do
sorry.
have. You know, two things, and I think we need to work on, and that's going to be the request planning. We probably need to relook at our propane refueling stations, the requirements we have, and allow them within C4 zones if they are no larger than a certain size. Not necessarily do we have these huge. There seems to be a new need. This is 2 that we've had real recently, but there's probably 4 more we're going to see come in because people are realizing that propane where they're refilling bottles is illegal because they're not in a C4 zone. As they catch them, they will start doing it. So we probably need to set up a deal or request that planning look at allowing a tank no larger than a certain size to be in C4 as part of another business.
Mr. Boyd, you're taking some notes. Why don't you run that by the planning, based on a letter, indicating the council's expressed an interest in them reviewing that, and then, maybe you give them a month and a half, 1st of February, to report back if they would. Alderwoman Robinson. I'm sorry.
My second one is the same thing to do. You're not going to see many 4-bay car washes built anymore. Is that most of them are going to be 6 bays simply, and that we need to go in and put in requirements where you can have a 6 bay, but to put in the setback requirements to make sure that you're not
pulling out on the street.
That you actually pull out onto the street. You don't back out onto the street.
Got that, Mr. Boyle?
I do. We also have a draft rewrite of the zoning ordinance. We have 2 members of the aldermen who are going to serve on that committee.
Okay.
Terrific. Everybody know that they raised their hands, Alderman Hewling and Alderman Wisher. We appreciate your yeoman service on that rewrite.
We'll just put it in the rewrite. Y'all don't have to worry about it.
Microphone's open. Oh, excuse me?
Robinson.
Oh, Alderwoman Robinson. I'm sorry.
That's just fine. Talking about these propane tanks, I don't particularly care for them, but coming home one evening, I saw one sitting out on the side of someone's house, and I was wondering if we had regulations for homeowners as to where they would place those tanks. Are there any regulations for homeowners as to where to place those tanks?
I'm going to have to defer that to someone else. I saw that one over on Riverfront Drive in Washington.
Right.
And I suppose that's the one you're talking about.
That's the one I'm talking
and
about.
And I asked someone about that, and they said that's a home heating supply. So I assume they're okay at residences.
Well, let's not assume, Mr. Boyles. Let's work with the city attorney's office and someone else to find out the answer to Alderwoman Robinson's questions.
They need to be in fire. They don't need to be where they can be.
I don't see anybody running to the microphone, so apparently nobody knows.
The fire chief should know.
The fire marshal ought to know.
That's right. Well, maybe we need to pass some legislation or something.
Might as well. Alderman Vestal.
Just one quick comment, Mayor. I had several complaints about natural gas smell up on Sunset Drive, and have made 2 or 3 attempts to contact someone at our club, and or here, whatever they are now, and has not had any success. If someone has
Let's see, you're our utility guru, Miss Woodard. Not in gas, but electricity, so help me work with Alderman Vestal to see if we can tell those gas folks we're going to shut off their power if they don't give us attention. Alderman Berry?
This is to add to it. Central Arkansas Water went up there to work, and they contacted them to tell them that they have a gas leak, and it's just like they called
It's not a light smell.
They told them it was a Class B leak and that it had a certain amount of time to be addressed.
That's right.
Gas leak's a gas leak to me.
Well, that's not
You
the way.
strike a match around there and the ground catches on fire and it gets to one of them 6-8 pound mains, you got problems.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we take a, Mr. Susky, why don't you, Ms. Woodard may not really be the one to do that. Mr. Sykes, where are you? Is he out there? Okay. Why don't you work with Mr. Susky and trying to get a hold of the gas folks, make sure that they don't violate, that they are not violating any of our stuff, and I mean, those gas leaks do need to be paid attention to, and figure out one way or another to get their attention. I'm going to let you off the hook, Ms. Woodard. I'm going to ask Mr. Sipes and Mr. Susky to get on to that.
It was not that long ago that we had a house explode in Ranch Estate because gas built up from a leak and seeped up through the ground under the house.
Well, and then my office will work with the two of y'all too to see if we can find some way to make sure we can get a hold of somebody. At the gas company, that'll give us a little attention. Let me make a couple of quick notes before I open the public hearing or open the microphone. This Friday, the North Little Rock Boys and Girls Club, the City of North Little Rock, and North Little Rock Advertising and Promotion Commission are going to be partnering with the holiday concert. The Symphony will be coming to our East Campus. A number of years we've been a part of this, and the time, the children's hour is 6:30 to 7:30. The Symphony starts at 7:30. Again, the East Campus benefits the proceeds will benefit the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm encouraging all to come and enjoy a terrific evening of holiday music. In addition, Friday the 19th.
Mayor, on that symphony at Northeast High School, one of North Little Rock's city employees is going to be a guest conductor.
We understand that.
It's going to be a special treat.
We don't want to run people off.
But I think the people that go to that symphony are in for a real treat when they hear that and see that Joe Smith is going to be the guest conductor Friday night.
Alderman, unfortunately, I didn't want to mention that because they usually expect the mayor to do that, and I didn't want to keep the thousands away that were going to come see me do it and recognize that Joe Smith's going to be doing it.
Well, Joe paid me to say that. So.
Yeah, well, he can't rule you out of order either. And now you're out of order, Alderman. But no, we have a great evening planned. Joe Smith, the purchasing director, will be the guest conductor, but I'll be handing him the baton along with Miss Savannah Lou, who is my favorite young lady these days, my granddaughter. The second thing is that Friday at the noon hour on December the 19th, that's not this Friday, that's Friday week, the city will be hosting its annual Christmas open house. Ms. Whitby and her staff have again done a terrific job in decorating City Hall, and from 12 till 2, our North Little Rock City Choir with Santa Claus Bulls will be, are you still leading our choir, Robert? I'm singing. You're singing?
That's
Who's leading?
worse.
Charlie, are you choir leader?
No, Donna Smith, we have a professional this time.
Oh, Lord.
Activity director's going to do that.
Okay.
Who are the members of the choir? Did they not stand up?
Well, I don't think they're all here. I think just a couple of them. Who's here in the choir? Stand up. Mr. Baxter and Mr. Boyle, Ms. Woodard, and any of our city councils welcome to come join the choir too. That might want to lend your voice to that effort. But any event, Friday, December 19th, from 12 noon to 2 o'clock, we want to invite all of our citizens and friends to come by City Hall and say hello. I know we'll have a chance to wish everybody a happy holiday season, so right now we'll just ask everybody to shop and generate a lot of sales tax. The microphone's open. If anybody else cares to come address us. Mr. Baxter?
Two more quick advertisements. The 12th at the Hayes Center, we're having our Christmas dance, and folks who want to dance can come out to that. And then the 14th, we are also having a free concert Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and it'll be a Christmas concert.
With that, happy holidays. I have a motion.
Move so.
Second? Thanks. On the motion.
Gibson.
Yes.
Yielding.
Yes.
Robinson. Thomas. Barry.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.